today. Did you watch Copa Mania 2023 presented by Israel Adesanya? And did you know the most exciting fight that could ever be signed has been signed between Alex Pereira and Jiri Prochazka? And what about the man that fights every 2.5 to 3 years receiving a welterweight title shot? Plus Alexandre Pantoja, and much, much more on today's episode of Matter of Fact MMA. Let's go. We're going to start off first, before we get into all the breaking news, all the major fights that have been signed. Let's talk about Copa Mania 2023 presented to you by Israel Adesanya. So, to be honest, even though I'm wording it like that, I'm saying it like that, I will give Izzy some props. So Israel Adesanya comes out with a video on his own YouTube channel where he's being interviewed by his brother about his loss to Sean Strickland. And I will give Izzy props. He seems to be handling the loss well. He gave Sean credit on the win, gave him credit, on his fighting style and everything. So that was cool. It was good to see that he wasn't just so acting like, whatever. Sean's style is terrible and he didn't really get beat and da-da-da-da-da. You know how these fighters be. It was good to see him kind of own up to a couple of things. Now, the only thing I did just want to talk about real quick that I thought was pretty whack, was the fact that he was talking about at the end of the fight, after the fight was over, and Sean got emotional. And, he was telling, Sean Strickland, you need to man up, and not be a bee and, and all this type of stuff. But he was also saying to him, don't make fun of my family, don't talk about my family and all of this stuff. But he's kind of saying it kind of like in a way where it's like, come on, man, I just lost the fight. Don't say nothing about my family and whatever, so on and so forth. And Sean Strickland obliged and didn't. And then Izzy was like, but then he felt like, kind of like Sean Strickland was two-faced, so to speak, because then he goes into the post-fight press conference and says some things about him. And I just found that to be, like one of the reasons why you just don't really like Israel Adesanya. The fact of the matter is this, Izzy. When you beat Pereira, you fell on the ground and mocked a child, right? You fell on the ground and you mocked a child. Granted the child mocked you early, but he's a child, bro. You're a grown man. A grown in your 30s man. You know what I'm saying? A man. And so it's like, everything is fair game, bro. Like everything is fair game because you said yourself, you're the king of petty. You're the petty king. So it was fair game to mock Alex Pereira's son. Well, it's fair game for Sean Strickland to go out there and say whatever he wants to about your dog with the tattoo on your neck and your family in the audience and everybody else. You know what I mean? So don't be all like, oh, don't talk about my family. Don't say this, don't say that. Bro, I wish it would have been me because I would have straight up said all type of stuff about your family. Would have called them out in the front row. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, is that your mama? Is that your brother? Who? Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, when you're the guy that mocks a child and humps Paulo Costa from behind, bro, you deserve to get talked about, okay? You deserve for people to throw a few shots at whoever's in the audience there for you because, you reap what you sow, bro. You got to deal with it. Nevertheless, shout out to Israel Adesanya for the most part, seeming like he's doing well after his loss to Sean Strickland. He said he didn't really know when he was going to be back in the octagon, so, that's being left up in the air. Says he doesn't care about who he fights for the belt again. He's not really worried about the belt. So that was kind of cool to see. So, shout out to Israel Adesanya as he takes his his well-earned vacation and eventually makes his return to the octagon. Moving on. let's get into the blockbuster, the summer blockbuster, the big payola. Let's talk about the mammoth fight that was the fight was huge. Let's talk about Jiri Prochazka as well as Alex Pereira. These two men will square off in November in Madison Square Gardens in the co-main event to John Jones and Stipe for the light heavyweight championship of the world, the vacant light heavyweight championship. This is the fight that, if you know, we all wanted to see. This is the fight. This is it. Jiri Prochazka and his fighting style, the wild, chaotic fighting style, now, a la beating Glover Teixeira, grappling style, submission style of Jiri Prochazka stepping in there against Alex Pereira, trained by Glover Teixeira. Can Glover get a little bit of revenge? Stepping in there in Madison Square Gardens, one of the greatest, one of the biggest arenas in the world for the light heavyweight championship. This should be an outstanding fight. If it's a striking affair, it's going to be outstanding. Alex Pereira has shown, against Jan Blachowicz, that, he can withstand the grappling, he can withstand the wrestling at altitude, more or less. You know what I'm saying? So, this is going to be a really good fight. This is going to be an action-packed fight. Unless somebody gets KO'd within like the first 30 seconds or the first minute, this should be an action-packed fight. You got two men with outstanding chins, iron will, I mean, these are men. You know what I'm talking about? Like, pause. But these are men. This ain't nobody that's messing with a dog. You know what I'm saying? This ain't nobody that dances to the octagon and has a little choreograph, looking like Stomp the Yard with Chris Brown. This ain't nothing like that, bro. This is a man from the favelas, and this is a European dog about to step into the octagon and lock horns for the light heavyweight championship of the world right before you get to watch John Jones and Stipe for the heavyweight championship. This is going to be an outstanding fight. I cannot wait to see this. I can't wait to see the build-up. It should be very interesting. You got the wild and unorthodox, unpredictable style of Jiri against Alex, who is not as wild or unpredictable, but has that devastating power. Whereas Jiri has power as well. Jiri has like a sharp striking power. Like, Jiri strikes snap you. You know what I mean? And so if you get TKO'd, if you get knocked out in the process, that's what it is. Whereas Alex Pereira has that thudding power, that whoom, and you out. Like, you just wake him up. What happened? You lost the light heavyweight championship. Oh, okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is going to be an outstanding fight. I'm extremely excited for it. We're going to break it down. We're going to talk about it, in the up and coming months. We got plenty of time, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, MMA fans, we got plenty of time because it ain't happening until November. But I just had to talk about it because it just got announced yesterday by Big Money Dana, Daddy Warbucks, the man with all the paper in his hand, Dana White, announced it. So, excited to see that. Let's move on. How about this? How about the man that fights every 2.5 to 3 years, if that? Covington is getting a welterweight title shot against Leon Rocky Edwards. You're letting him bully your son, bro. I'm all for it. I'm not. Look, I didn't really want Covington to get a title shot, honestly, because I don't feel like he deserves a title shot. But I will say that I just want to see Leon Rocky Edwards fight again. So if he's got to fight Dusty Covington, well, drag his dusty carcass in the octagon and let him get it on. Because I just want to see Rocky Edwards go out there and defend his championship again, There will be no Rocky Edwards slander on the channel. I want to see Rocky Edwards go out there and do work against Kobe Covington. And, we're going to see, Kobe, 3 years ago when he was fighting a little bit more regularly, he wasn't fighting a very regular, but a little bit more. It would have been interesting to see that Kobe versus Leon Edwards. I don't know what Kobe's going to look like now after taking so much time off, and he's actually made quite a bit of money before he took his time off and even during his time off. So, it'd be interesting to see what type of Kobe Covington steps in there. But I don't even care about Kobe. I just want to see Leon Edwards back in the octagon defending his welterweight championship. And, drag old Kobe's carcass, into the octagon, throw him in there, prop him up, and let Leon do work. I'm excited to see that. That fight goes down in Las Vegas in December. So that should be interesting. It's the main event, or at least the main event at this time. So that's going to be outstanding to see. But let's also talk about the co-main event of that show in December in Las Vegas. Alexandre Pantoja defends his flyweight championship against Brandon Raw Dog Royval. The Raw Dog versus the Dog in Alexandre Pantoja. Bro, I'm all for it. I'm here for it. I want to see it. I want to see that Pantoja that went out there and took the belt from Brandon Moreno against Royval. That's who I want to see. You got Raw Dog who goes in there. He's got great chokes. He's got rear naked chokes. He's got, standing chokes up against the side of the cage. The man has good scrambles. The man has pretty good grappling. He's got pretty good takedown defense. And if he doesn't have good takedown defense, he locks you up in a head and arm choke. You never know what this dude's going to do. He's wild. He's crazy. He's the Raw Dog. You know what I'm saying? Raw Dog. I just wanted to say it again. At the same time, you got my guy, Pantoja, who is just hardened from steel and granite. Like this Pantoja looks like a bunch of people were hiking and about to go rock climbing on somebody's mountain. And then as they're looking off in the distance, they're like, is that a man coming down from the mountains? Is there someone coming down from the mountaintop? Who is that hardened man? It's Alexandre Pantoja, because here he comes and he's ready to do damage. This man is cut from a different cloth. Bro, I'm all here for that flyweight fight. It's going to be quick. It's going to be fast. It's going to be action-packed. You're going to have striking, submission attempts, everything. That's going to be a great fight. Shout out to Brandon Moreno. Shout out to Figgy Smalls. You know what I'm saying? We've been watching them battle back and forth for years now for the flyweight championship. I'm excited to see new blood in there. Somebody new, fighting for that belt. And Pantoja, and I'm anxious to see if this is going to be the true beginning of his flyweight reign. Or is Royval going to go in there and take it from him? That's going to be outstanding to see as well. So you got all of these fights that were just announced by Daddy Warbucks, Big Money Dana. Bro, and I'm here for it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Madison Square Gardens, what do you want? John Jones possibly will retire after beating Stipe. Maybe Stipe shocks the world and knocks out John Jones, or who knows? Then you're talking about right before that, you got Jiri Prochazka and Alex Pereira. Just put it in my arm, put it in my veins, tie it off, and put it in there. I mean, come on, bro. This is November and December. You better be watching. You better be ready to pay that pay-per-view fee, or you better be ready to go to your links and watch those 2 pay-per-views, because that's where it's at. Anyway, I just had to drop in, you know what I'm saying, and let y'all know about these recent fights. It was just signed. It's going to be outstanding. It's going to be great. Nevertheless, I appreciate you guys for joining me for another episode of Matter of Fact MMA. And I'll check you next time. Peace.